What's up, everybody? How's it going? I thought I'd toss an extra podcast up here on Remember the Game feed to help kill your Monday workday. And if you're listening to this on a day that isn't Monday, I'll allow it, but just know I'm very disappointed in you. This is last week's episode of Game Patch, which is the gaming news podcast I offer up to Patreons every Friday morning. We cover the biggest news in the worlds of PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, talk about new releases, etc. This past week was kind of slow for gaming news outside of Nintendo, but I did spend a good half hour breaking down their Nintendo Direct from last week and everything that caught my good eye's attention. If you like this episode, consider signing up at patreon.com/rememberthegame. You'll get one of these bad boys every Friday, 100% ad-free for just $3 a month. You also get my other gaming podcast, Expansion Pass, every Thursday, along with instant access to about 400 archived episodes as well. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. My name is Adam Blank, and welcome to Game Patch. Remember the game industry's weekly gaming news podcast. This is patch 192.0, and it includes Nintendo proved that the Switch tank isn't empty yet with a hell of a Nintendo Direct. And thank fuck, because there's really not much else to talk about. A Shovel Knight sequel is in the works, fucking A. We got some new Game Pass games and a little bit more. Kind of a short week. But whatever, your patch is installed. Let's fucking go.
Please no swearing on this line. I've got several episodes of experience that makes me an expert. I'm the judge and you're the liar, and my audience is my bias the higher. Come on now, come on.
It's a day early. I'm recording this Wednesday afternoon instead of normally Thursday like I do, which means it's probably going to be a shorter episode. Thank fuck for Nintendo. They gave us a direct and a half to talk about. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Game Patch. It is our weekly gaming news podcast here to Remember the Game Industries, where we look at the biggest news in the world of video games, sprinkle some profanity on it, bake it up nice and golden brown, and basically kill an hour or so of your week. And a huge thank you to UK band Vertical Noise for providing the theme music for the show. The song you hear every Friday is called A Certain Host of a Certain Talk Show, and you can find it in all of Vertical Noise's music wherever you get your tunes. Every week those guys fly into Edmonton all the way from the UK just to perform that clip for the intro. And this week they were so excited about the Toronto show, they actually flew there instead. And then I was like, guys, it's not for another week. And they were like, oh, no problem. We'll just hike to Alberta, and which is basically across Canada from where Toronto is. And somewhere along the way, we're presuming a polar bear got them, because all that's been found is one of their passports, a half-eaten bag of crisps, and a drumstick. So rest in peace, Vertical Noise. But thank you to you for the beautiful theme song. And of course, thank you to you for listening to that beautiful theme song. Because if you're hearing this, watching this, or checking this out live on a stream, you support us on the old Patreon box. And if that is the case, from the bottom of my amped up heart, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. It's amped up for two reasons. One, I've had a lot of coffee today. And two, I'm out of here for the weekend to go to my nephew's grad. So I'm actually recording this Wednesday afternoon. It's not going live until Friday morning. So if anything crazy happens on Thursday, as probably will, because the gaming gods fucking hate me, I won't even be able to do the funny pipe thing and patch it in because I'm gone, but we'll get it next week. We'll play catch up, all right? As always, we are going to start with the multi-platform stuff and general gaming news, and then we'll go to PlayStation, Xbox, and save the biggest for last this week with Nintendo. And not a lot of general gaming news, but my second favorite story of the week after that Nintendo Direct is going to kick off the show. And in fact, I am so excited about this, I'm going to do the thing. Let's go, baby. Yacht Club Games. The brilliant bastards and bitches behind my precious Shovel Knight had a live stream last Friday to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the series, and they announced the thing I wanted more than anything in this world except Silksong and some extra stuff as well. The big thing, in my opinion, is that a sequel to Shovel Knight is officially in development. Oh my fucking god. They didn't show anything or give us a release date, but a designer at the studio said that the next Shovel Knight game will feature, quote, groundbreaking innovative gameplay mechanics, end quote, which could easily just be a pun because he has a shovel, so we'll see. And he also said that the next Shovel Knight game will the next game, will take Shovel Knight into an entirely new dimension of gaming. I'm hoping that the sequel goes 16-bit, but we will see. I'm so excited that a sequel to fucking Shovel Knight is in the works. Oh my fucking God. They also revealed Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope DX. They're calling it the definitive edition of Shovel Knight. And in addition to the 4 campaigns and everything we've already played, there will be 20 playable characters, and each one will have their own abilities and everything, which is fucking sick. I will be playing that game forever. It's also going to include over 300 cheats you can use to alter the game. It's going to have a rewind function, some new online and multiplayer modes. Holy Jesus. No word on a release date for either the sequel to Shovel Knight or Shovel Knight Shovel of Hope DX, but I do know that the DX version of Shovel of Hope is available for wish listing on Steam right now. And I'll be straight up, if that's the only place I can't imagine that's the only place it gets released. You got to think it goes everywhere. If they only drop it on Steam, I'll play it on the Steam Deck. I don't give a fuck where I have to do, what I have to do, whose dick I need to play with to get my hands on more Shovel Knight. Bring it on. Oh, I love that little bastard so much. I'm so happy that they're making another one. We all knew they were making another one, but to finally hear it from the horse's mouth, it just, it almost tears me up a little bit. Lotus wrote in and said, just what I asked for with the sequel, but the definitive version is only because I just bought this on my Steam Deck, so we are all welcome. Someone had to buy it to get them to release a new version, so thank you, Lotus. Timmy the Exuberant Turtle said, hook it to my veins. That's exactly how I feel. Oh, God. If you've never played Shovel Knight and you're listening to this, that's through the microphone. Get out there and play it because it's probably the best, with the possible exception of Celeste, the best retro-inspired indie game I've ever touched. Fuck, Shovel Knight is so good. Jake Carter said, I don't care that I've already played the shit out of Shovel Knight. I'm definitely hopping back on it to crush all the new characters in DX. Very exciting. Fucking rights. At TBO Castlevaniac said, hi, Resident Shovel Knight fanboy here. I wasn't expecting the deluxe edition. These games already had a lot of replayability, and now we really can play it endlessly. Will this make the wait for the new entry this will make the wait for the new entry manageable. Not sure if this is free. Otherwise, I'll be buying it for the 6th time, no doubt. Yeah, they didn't say whether or not it'd be a free update. I'm presuming it won't be sick if it was, but I feel you. I've already bought it on Vita. I've bought it on my 3DS. I bought it on my Switch. I think I bought it on my Wii U. I think I've bought Shovel Knight 3 or 4 times myself, and I'll keep buying it. Adam Part of the Problem blank. Shovel Knight is money well spent, though. Fuck, Shovel Knight is so good. I'm so fucking happy right now. I don't even care with the rest of the news. That's it for this week's Game Patch. Vertical Noise, play me out. All right, I better finish the show. Otherwise I'll get the fucking angry emails. There is only one other general gaming news story this week, though, and it's really not even much of a story, but it's the feel good story for the week. This is potentially really good news. Hidetaka Miyazaki, the president of From Software and creator of Elden Ring, spoke to PC Gamer this week with the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC dropping. And with all the layoffs in the gaming industry, that was a point of discussion during the interview. Miyazaki said, well, it's unfortunately part of the gaming industry. It won't be a part of From Software as long as the company is his responsibility. In regards to layoffs, he said, quote, speaking to myself and this company, I want to say that this is not something I would wish on the staff of From Software in a million years. I'm pretty sure our parent company, Kadokawa, understands that and shares that view, end quote. And then he referenced former Nintendo president Satoru Iwata, who cut his own salary when Nintendo was down on their luck instead of laying people off, which was a move pretty praised throughout the gaming world. Miyazaki said, quote, I think it was the old ex-president of Nintendo, Iwata, who said, people who are afraid of losing their jobs are afraid of making good things. I'm paraphrasing that, but I totally share this view, end quote. It's good shit. I like that a lot. God knows From Software is raking in the pennies these days with Elden Ring and that new DLC, which is reviewing through the roof and everything. So it's nice to hear a company amongst all these other companies laying everyone off coming out and being like, we don't intend to lay anybody off. To publicly say that is really putting yourself out there if they now come around and lay a bunch of people off. So I think that's, if I worked there, it'd have me feeling better. And it was brought up, that they're owned by a parent company, but like they said, their parent company seems to feel the same way. So good shit. And there's no reason for them to lay people off. Like, start working on the next Elden Ring or Souls or whatever the fuck you're making while you sit there and count your money from Erdtree, because that fucking DLC is going to sell through the roof. Nostalgio said, as gamers, we really have to keep encouraging this kind of leadership with our wallets. I agree. I agree. Get out there and buy the fucking Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. I was saying we're going to get into it when we talk about the new game releases, but I was saying on social media today, I'm not going to play Elden Ring. Somebody, and I apologize, somebody left a comment on an episode saying that they fixed all the issues I had with the Souls games, which I have to respectfully disagree with. Unless there's no more difficult boss fights, I still, the issues I have with these games are still there. They're just not for me. But Elden Ring, by all accounts, is spectacular. I have been tempted by it just because the reviews have been so good. And this DLC, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, is reviewing through the fucking roof as well. I agree with Nostalgia. Like, this is, From Software deserves to be rewarded for their work. And then to come out and say stuff like that, they're doing everything right now. So good for them. And if you're an Elden Ring fan, I encourage you to get out there and drop some pennies on the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC and rage for a couple more weeks, as I believe most of you do when you play these fucking games. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix, there's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention, but when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. Anyway, that is it for the general gaming news. I know, and PlayStation honestly doesn't get much better, but we are contractually obligated to stop there. So let's fucking do it up. God, I love that PlayStation load-up chime so much. Let's check in with the station that plays. Ever since the Uncharted movie came out a couple of years ago, a second flick has been up and down on the internet. This is a big up, though. Sony confirmed this week that another Uncharted movie is on the way. No word on if Tom Holland or Marky Mark will be returning as Nathan and Sully as of yet, but Wahlberg has said publicly that he has received a script for the second movie, so he's at least been invited back anyway. No word on a release date, who's on it or anything, just that the green light has officially lit up and a second Uncharted movie is on the way. Excuse me, I'm choking on my own spit here. It's not as cool as Rage. I've actually not seen the first Uncharted yet, and I want to because I like Tom Holland, I like Marky Mark, and I like the Uncharted games. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't like this movie. And most of the reviews, as you're about to hear from some of these comments, seem to be like, it's fine. It's okay. Fill up my mouth with farts said, I thought the first one was pretty entertaining, though I still think going with Tom Holland as Nathan was too young compared to the games. I would have gone with Mark Wahlberg as Drake and maybe Sam Elliott as Sam. But still, something to look forward to. I also felt that way when they announced it. And again, I haven't seen it, so I'm reserving judgment. I like Tom Holland a lot. That's my Spider-Man. But he did seem too young. And Mark Wahlberg seemed too young to be Sully. I remember seeing that and being like, Wahlberg would make a good Nathan Drake. But maybe they were better than I did. I don't know. Matteo said, I think the first one was okay, mainly from a novelty factor of seeing game scenes in a movie, but it definitely lacks some magic. I hope the second fixes it, and I just don't think Tom Holland was a good choice for Nathan. And John C500 said, the first one was really entertaining, and I'm an Uncharted homer, so my body is ready, although I still feel like they cast the wrong guy for Sully. I know he has the mustache now, but I want the sly old Sully attitude too. I'm hoping Wahlberg brings it in the sequel. So there's 3 people writing in, and one says Mark Wahlberg should have been Nathan Drake, one says Tom Holland was not a good choice for Nathan, and one says Mark Wahlberg was not a good choice for Sully. So, fucked if I don't even, having never seen the movie, I don't disagree with those comments. But I promise you, you can all take this shit to the bank. I will see the second one, or I will see the first one before the second one comes out. All I have to do is get around to watching. I'd like to see, I really genuinely am interested in watching it. So, eventually I will see Uncharted, but there's another one coming eventually. And then the only other PlayStation news this week is if you're one of those PlayStation Portalites, patent pending, you can now play your PlayStation in more places. Sony rolled out an update for the PS Portal on Wednesday that will allow players to connect to more public Wi-Fi spots, like ones in coffee shops and airports, etc. You'll have to jump through a couple of hoops on the PlayStation apps on your phone to complete the process, but the option is there now. I was shocked. Was that not an option before? When you tried to play your PlayStation Portal, you couldn't connect to like coffee shop Wi-Fi? It surprises me. They also included a couple other small things in the update, like being able to see the remaining battery percent at the top of the screen and visual feedback for the touchpad stuff. So Captain N wrote in and said, latency is a big issue with the PlayStation Portal. I have a 1.5 Gbps, gigabytes per second, I think. Oh, wait, I should probably read it in the Frank voice if we're going to get into the statistics here. Captain N wrote in and said, latency is a huge issue with the PlayStation Portal. I have a 1.5 gigabyte per second speeds in my house, but I often have problems with the Portal connecting. Even the suggested fix by a friend hasn't helped me much. I'm hoping they can fix that because it's otherwise a great device. I'm glad it. So basically, Captain N is saying it's a great device except for the fact that it doesn't stream games right, which is the thing it's supposed to do. I digress. I'm not dunking on. Look, I think the Portal looks cool. If I had money just laying around to blow on anything I want, I'd probably buy one. But I just don't feel like I got my fucking Steam Deck. I've got my Switch. I'm like, I got my Backbone controller. I can stream my PS5 to my phone. Like, I don't need any more fucking devices cluttering this house and the various tabletops throughout it. But I do think the Portal is a cool idea. That said, it's obviously 100% up to your internet and how much it can handle. So, I haven't seen a ton of people complain about latency, but I also have not read a ton of reviews about this thing. That said, when I read this story, the 2 things that surprised me were that got me asking questions were, 1, were you not able to connect to like Starbucks Wi-Fi before? And then 2, do you want to? Because I can't imagine cheap coffee shop Wi-Fi being good enough to play, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth down the, a fucking city away from your PlayStation. But what do I know? Maybe I should get my hands on it and try one. So anyway, that's it. That's all your PlayStation news. It's really not a busy week, kids, outside of Nintendo's Direct. As far as game releases on the PlayStation, as mentioned, that Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring is out now. I don't always plug DLC, but when I do, it's because it's either a game I'm really interested in or it's just reviewing through the roof. This one is the latter. 95 on Metacritic. I saw a headline that said it was the highest rated DLC of all time right now on Metacritic. So if you're an Elden Ring fan, it seems like a no-brainer. And then Still Wakes the Deep is out now. It's a first-person underwater game, and I'm terrified of deep water, so I'm not fucking touching that with a 20-foot pole. But that's available now as well. And then as far as sales on the PSN, I am going to recommend Persona 5 Tactica, the tactical game that goes along the Persona route. Apparently, it's pretty good if you're into Persona, and it's 40% off. So it might be something for you Personites to look at. You can play it on your PlayStation Portalite, you Personites, patent pending. That's all the news in the world of PlayStation. You know where we're headed next. Let's open said box of X. And let's see what's going on with those nerds. The next batch of games coming to Xbox Game Pass has been officially revealed. Some of these are available right now. By the time my mouth is in your ear. Dude, that's gross. I don't mind like kissing somebody on like the neck or like, you know, a little bit, but like I used to have a girl that would like stick her tongue in my ear and I hated it because it felt gross. Plus I was like, there's fucking wax in there. Don't play with. I'm not trying to kink shame, but don't play with people's ears. It's gross. Stick to the butt stuff. Anyway, this show sucks. By the time my words are in your ears, Still Wakes the Deep, which we just talked about, first-person underwater horrifying game, is on Game Pass. My Time at Sandrock is also on Game Pass. Those are on everything. And then Keplerth is available on PC Game Pass. And then still coming on June 25th, EA Sports FC 24 is available on cloud console or cloud PC and console, excuse me. But I believe you need to have Game Pass Ultimate to play that one, because I believe that's an EA Play game. On June 26th, SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2 are on console and cloud. Fucking play those. You should have played those already because they regularly go on sale for about 80 cents. Those games are fire. And then on June 27th, Robin Hood Sherwood Builders is on Xbox Series Everything, PC, and cloud. So those are your Game Pass games for the rest of June. Stupid Monkey wrote in and said, play SteamWorld Dig in 1 and 2, people. Even a stupid monkey is right twice a day. You absolutely should all play SteamWorld Dig. Fuck, I love those games. And then John C500 said, I've seen a local streamer put up funny videos of Still Wakes the Deep, and I want to play it for this reason alone. Even the creator posted about the streamer ripping into his own game. I like that. Honestly, it looks like a neat little game. I really genuinely get uncomfortable, even when I'm in a fantasy setting in deep water. So I don't know if I don't know if that's for. I can feel my anxiety coming up with Still Wakes the Deep. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, those are what's available now. I'm gonna say I don't see anything in there that I really want to play. Although, had I not played SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Dig 2, I'd be playing it again, as all of you fucking should. Especially SteamWorld Dig 2, but they're both great games. Where were we here? Todd Howard, the big cheese over at Bethesda, did an interview with Mr. Matty Plays of Defining Duke fame. I would like to shout them out. Phenomenal Xbox podcast. If you're an Xbox fan, I think Defining Duke is a must listen. Tell them I sent you. It won't matter, but tell them I sent you. Anyways, Todd Howard said that they plan to support Starfield for the foreseeable future. The upcoming Shattered Space DLC was revealed during the Xbox showcase last week, and Howard said that there's at least one more big story expansion, planned for down the road. He said they're hoping to release annual story content for Starfield for a very long time. When asked how big this upcoming Starfield expansion was, he compared it to the Far Harbor DLC for Fallout 4. Quote, one of the things we always liked about it from the get-go, but I don't think people realize, is Shattered Space, the bulk of that expansion pack. Once you get to the city and the planet, it takes place there. It allows us to build a landscape like we would traditionally do and have the city and the quest, and so that story takes place there. Content-wise, we're looking at what we did with Far Harbor on Fallout 4. This is a scope that works for our development and doing this annual story expansion type of thing. So really excited about that, and it lets us do some things the way we would in previous games and give people not completely that experience because it's still Starfield, but this new kind of alien world you're able to explore and it takes place there, end quote. So the way I interpreted that was him, one of the big criticisms of Starfield was that, and this is one for myself as well, was that a lot of it just felt empty. You had all these planets you could go explore, but it felt like a big field of nothing for a lot of the planet, as opposed to something like a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls where you get into an area and it's just chock full of goodies to go and look at and everything. And it sounds like they're kind of getting back to that with this DLC, which I think is the right play. I think that sounds cool. So pretty neat. I like seeing them support Starfield. Am I going to play this DLC? 75% no. If I have to buy it, almost 100% no. If it ends up being included with Game Pass, there's an outside chance. I don't see myself going back to Starfield, but I see how diehards would. Nathan Thunder wrote in and said, after 300 plus hours, I would love some expansions. I had to take a break so I don't burn myself out before the Shattered Space DLC. Now, Matt D wrote in and said, I love how there's two sides of Starfield players. People like me that played the story for 80 hours and said, meh, I'm done. And people like Nathan Thunder above that dedicated their life to it. I love the difference in game tastes and people enjoying games that much. 100%. I'm in category B. I probably put about 60 hours into Starfield, and then I was like, all right, I think I've had enough of this. I really did like it. If I had nothing else to play, I'd probably go back and do another run. I really did enjoy playing Starfield, but I was one and done. To hear someone that's a diehard like that get over, like that's good. Reward those players with more content. I like it. Brian Dice said, this is great to hear. With the recent changes and the creations available to download on PC and Xbox, it has opened up the game immensely and has got me back into it fully. Looking forward to see what BGS and our community has for the future too. Oh, Bethesda Game Studios. I was like, the fuck is BGS? Okay. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, the community's really embracing that game, which is good shit. I'm glad it didn't die. I'm glad Starfield didn't just, I don't think it quite knocked it out of the park like they were hoping it would. I don't think it's going to be the next Elder Scrolls or Fallout, but I'm glad it's not just dying on the vine. Makes me happy. Hokey Riff said, if the rumors of the setting are true, this could be a great expansion. The Va'ruun storyline was barely scratched, and I felt it was very deserving of its own expansion. I'm really hoping that this adds some branches to the existing stories from the main game and adding some wrinkles on how to progress. My main ask is that we get some better use out of the outposts in the game. I thought the concept was great, but without any need to have one or multiple to complete any of the quest lines, I felt it made it all pointless. Dude, I agree. I spent a whole weekend learning how to build those outposts and then realized it doesn't really matter. I agree with. I just, unless you just want to do it, it felt like the community building in Fallout 4, which I did not care for at all. So anyway, Starfield DLC is coming soon. And then finally, to wrap up the Xbox section before we get to that Nintendo Direct, just a quick heads up for those of you still rocking Xbox 360s. The 360 marketplace is shutting down in about a month at the end of July, and Xbox has rolled out a massive sale as a send-off. Tons of old games are 75% off or more, so if you still have a 360, hop in there and do some shopping. Triple said, as an avid 360 user, it's a sad day. I'm just glad Microsoft is discounting games so we can get them before it closes. Nintendo and Sony should take notice. Agreed. Buddy, I spent so much money on the 3DS eShop before it closed, and I'm fine with it. I'm excited to have some of those games to play now. But it was like, you couldn't have thrown us, I know Nintendo never put shit on sale, but it's like the store's about to close. You couldn't throw us a bone, I agree with that. And Cal C said, I'm not going to lie, this news breaks my heart. Another store of games lost to history. Whilst digital gaming is clearly how things are going to go, they need to find a way to keep games alive. As a kid, I had a great library of games on the 64. I was born the year after it came out, and inheriting it is what got me to gaming. We'll lose that if we go as we are. I mean, as a digital gamer, I'm not going to disagree that that's one of the big drawbacks to it, is that you can't just keep your... I mean, the thing is, though, I don't know if I've got a system where I can't still download the games I've bought. That, I'm sure, eventually is coming. But right now, it's not that I can't download the games that I bought. It's just that I won't be able to buy the games anymore. And you are right. There are a lot of games that are digital that will be lost to time forever over there. And if I'm being honest, I'm not agreeing with it. I just don't think the developers, I don't think that the studios like Sony and them, I don't think they care. I'm not saying it doesn't suck, because it does suck. I just don't think they give a fuck. I think they're like, we'd rather you be playing our new expensive games over these old cheap ones anyway. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to see these games getting lost. No argument from me, my friend. No argument from me. Anyway, that's all your Xbox news. And as far as game releases, exact same as PlayStation. Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and then Still Wakes the Deep. But Still Wakes is available on Game Pass. If you got that service, you can save yourself some pennies. And then as far as sales on the Xbox Marketplace this week, I'm actually going to shout out Katamari Damacy Reroll, which apparently is like a remaster of this PS2 game that people keep telling me I need to fucking play. And eventually I will. It's 75% off. You can get it for $10. So if you're into the Katamari thing, scoop that remaster or remake or whatever the fuck it is for $10. And enjoy. You're welcome for the tip. And that's it. We have one stop left, and we only have one story, but it's easily the biggest stop and the biggest story of the week. Let's switch it up. And let's talk about that fucking Nintendo Direct, shall we? Pretty spectacular. I think most would agree that Xbox, up until that Nintendo Direct, had the best showcase of the summer. I'll hear an argument now for the Nintendo Direct. I would hear an argument either way. People without trying to be a fanboy, I think Sony was a distant third this year. The PlayStation Showcase really wasn't all that impressive. Xbox has talked a big game. We'll see if they deliver. I expect Nintendo to deliver because they traditionally do. And for a fucking console that's coming up on its, I believe, 8th birthday, pretty fucking impressive showing. Pretty fucking impressive. So I'm not going to cover every game, but I'm going to touch on as many of them as I can. Let's get started. They kick things off with a new Mario and Luigi game. It's called Mario and Luigi Brothership. It looks awesome. I really like the cartoony kind of comic booky art style. It's another classic Mario and Luigi RPG. I really like those games. I played Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, was really good. And then I played Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, which I actually didn't enjoy as much. I didn't hate it. But for a huge Bowser fan, I actually felt it was kind of slow. And the parts where he played as Bowser were kind of boring. So I am intrigued by this. I think it looks fantastic. And I like the Mario and Luigi games. I do think I'm going to hold off and see how the reviews go. But it drops on November 7th, so it's only a few months away. You have all these moves where Mario and Luigi can transform and combine. There's one where they become like a spaceship and stuff. The potential is there, but we'll see how it goes. Vic Vinegar said, I think one of the obvious answers to what the standout of this direct was Mario and Luigi, but they better not fuck this one up like Paper Mario. I'm going to wait for the reviews before I buy it. That's been the one thing. Like, I really liked what Origami King was doing, but it was just too easy, and the experience and everything meant nothing. I get that you're not going to get the world's toughest RPG out of a Mario and Luigi game, but just give it enough bite that, like, I have to at least pay attention while I'm playing it. That's what I'm hoping for. Just enough. You know, it doesn't need to be hard, but just don't make it like I don't even have to try to beat it. So I'm going to wait on reviews, but potentially Mario and Luigi Brothership is on my radar. So that's 1 for 1. For games they showed up at the Direct. Then they come out of the gates back to back with another look at Nintendo World Championships. This is less than a month away. I can't fucking wait for that game. It's a game made up of a whole bunch of little speedrunning mini challenges from classic NES games. It's going to feature 13 games, 150 challenges. It's going to have leaderboards. There's going to be legend challenges like beat Mario with 1 life, for example. There's this awesome looking survival mode, which is like a battle royale, where each round half the players are eliminated and you all have to do these challenges as quickly as possible, and then the last player standing wins. I love NES games. I love these little challenges. There's not even the possibility that I don't buy this day one. July 18th, Nintendo World Championships. Holy fuck, I can't wait for that game. So that's 2 for 2. They've rolled out 2 games and I'm at least interested in both of them. Then that ended. The thing about it with Nintendo Directs there's a lot of like Japanese RPGs in these, and I'm not dunking on them because I know a lot of you are excited. We're going to talk about some of them, but they much like how the first person or the single player third person action games on Sony showcases kind of bleed together. These RPGs all kind of start to mend together like Play-Doh from different colors put in the same tube for me after a while. There's Fairy Tail 2 coming out this winter. It's an action RPG. It's anime style. I actually thought this one looked kind of neat. Your party confused their attacks and magic to make a bunch of combos and stuff. I'm not going to play that, I'll be honest. Fantasian, Neo Dimension. I believe that's a port of a mobile game. But don't quote me on that. It's from Square Enix. It's coming out this holiday season. Some of the OG Final Fantasy folk are involved with it. It looks very Final Fantasy. It's turn-based RPG, but you can adjust your attacks to like how you position your characters and then use their attacks will depend how many enemies get hit by their attacks and stuff. And what's neat is it looks like you can send enemies into other dimensions and then fight them later in the game as you're traveling through it and stuff. That looked kind of cool. Jake Carter said Fantasian. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that. Fantasian Neo Dimension looks like early 2000s Final Fantasy goodness. Definitely excited to dive into that world, and hearing music from Nobuo Uematsu again will be a treat. I assume it's the Final Fantasy music guy. It looks like a game that Final Fantasy fans should be looking for. So that comes out holiday of this year. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting basketball as a new edition that'll be free and coming out this summer. I honestly don't know if any of you are playing Nintendo Switch Sports, but if you are, cool. All right, neat. This game called Mio, Memories in Orbit, is coming out sometime next year. The art style looks like a coloring book almost. It's a side-scrolling platformer, presumably. Looks right up my alley, so that one's on my radar, Memories in Orbit. Hello Kitty Island Adventure is coming to the Nintendo Switch next year. Spurgeocalypse said, I'm just excited to hear Adam's review of Hello Kitty Island Adventure. All I think of when I hear that game is Butters in the South Park World of Warcraft episode. where they're all on Butters to play WoW. And he's like, I'm busy playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I would say 15 to 20% chance I play and review that because I think it would be funny. And I love Butters. Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports is coming out this fall. It has 4 arcade sports games in it: tennis, soccer, basketball. I missed the 4th one. You play as the Looney Tunes. I don't have high hopes for it, but maybe it'll surprise us. Among Us got some new crewmates and imposters this week. That looks kind of neat. I don't know if the crew is still playing Among Us on Wednesday nights or not, but that's kind of might be a reason to go back. Kind of neat. Where were we here? Farmagia comes out November 1st this year. It's a weird Pokemon-looking RPG. It looks a little Pikmin-ish as well. You raise armies of these creatures, and then they do like action RPG combat. You're farming and stuff to power them up. Another just RPG that they blend into each other. Next announcement that got me all hot and bothered: Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. It's a straight-up port of the Wii and 3DS versions of Donkey Kong Country Returns, coming to the Switch on January 16th, 2025. I wish it was coming out before Christmas, but I'll take it afterwards. I fucking love the Donkey Kong Country game, so... to quote Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, just put it in my veins. I'll play the shit out of that. Quick Guns wrote in and said, I'm happy for Donkey Kong Country Returns as I remember it being a great game from the Wii. Also glad Zelda is joining for a Link is Missing game. Oh, we'll get there in a second. Donkey Kong Country Returns is a great game. It was like the first one. So they did the Donkey Kong Country trilogy on the Super Nintendo, and then there was Donkey Kong 64, and then they went back to it with Donkey Kong Country Returns to a 2D side scroller. If you like the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong Countries, I think Returns is a must play. It's fucking really good. So that's coming out January 16th. Dragon Quest 3, it's the HD 2D remake. Looks fucking gorgeous. It's got that Octopath Traveler art style. Fuck, it looks sexy. So it's a modern remake of Dragon Quest 3. That releases on November 14th of this year, if you're into the old Dragon Quest RPGs. And then they also announced that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are getting the HD 2D treatment, and those are coming next year. So the entire original Dragon Quest trilogy is getting a facelift and getting ported to Switch. I'm semi-interested in this one. Hot Cheese Sauce said Dragon Quest HD 2D remakes of the original 3. God, I am so excited. Adam, you know these as Dragon Warriors. Since I know you like one, you should check these out. Yes, I have said before, the only Dragon Quest game I played is the original Dragon Warrior on the NES. I love that game. I love its simplicity and just the grinding. I'm a big fan of it. So I'm not going to promise, because, I mean, it is an RPG, and it's probably long. So I'm not going to sit here and promise that I'll play Dragon Quest 3, but I will let you know that it's on my radar, because I fucking love those 2D HD graphics. Oh, my fucking God. Chris Pinchin said, if Nintendo is planning titles that are a solid 7 years into the Switch's life, I'm good without a successor. If Nintendo is planning titles that are that solid 7 years into the Switch's life, I'm good without a successor for a while longer. They were around 10 titles I'm willing to play, but I'd say that you could put any game into the HD 2D engine and I'd be a happy man. Knowing they're doing that with Dragon Quest 1 through 3 is super exciting. Yeah, a lot of you were stoked about these. I'm on the fence because they are classic long JRPGs, but the art styles got my attention. They look fucking sick. So November 14th for Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. There's this crappy looking Funko Fusion game September 13th. You play as a bunch of Funkos in their games. Looks fucking stupid, frankly. Those Funko things are fucking everywhere. They're like fucking crabs. I don't get it. Well, it's a little mean, but anyways. I have a couple of them. Like, they're nice to look at, but there's Spider-Man right there on my shelf. Anyways, I don't know. Nobody wrote in. I don't think anybody cares. We know that Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming to the Switch in a week. That one I'm picking up and playing. I know a bunch of you wrote in and recommended that I play Luigi's Mansion 2 for the 3DS DS Patreon poll that's starting this week. I left it off the poll purposely because I know I'm just going to play the HD version on the Switch. I don't want to buy it for the 3DS just to re-buy it for the Switch later. I'm just going to play it on the Switch. But it looks awesome, though. I'm pretty interested in that one. Metal Slug Attack Reloaded is available right now on everything, by the way. I should have said that was on PlayStation and Xbox as well. Tower defense game, sexy pixel art. You have 300 different units to pick from. They all have different abilities. There's some card elements. That one's on my someday radar, potentially. Darkest Dungeon 2 is getting a Switch port. That's coming on July 15th. I can't speak to how good 2 is, but the OG Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike JRPG. It is awesome. Awesome. If you like RPGs and you like them fucking tough, look this one up. Darkest Dungeon is sick. So Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming to the Switch on July 15th. That's excellent. We got 4 new Nintendo Switch Online games for the Game Boy Advance. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past 4 Swords was added, and Metroid Zero Mission. I hear all of you saying I got to play it. I want to play it. I will find time. I will play it. I'm interested in this one. Absolutely. And then they've added a new wing to the Nintendo 64 section with 17 plus. They're calling it Nintendo 64 17 plus. And they added 2 new games to it this week: Turok Dinosaur Hunter and Perfect Dark. And Perfect Dark includes online multiplayer. I have to be honest, I played Turok a few months ago for the show and didn't really think it was all that in a bag of chips. But Perfect Dark is the shit. Much better than GoldenEye. It is. It is. So that's a nice little addition. I love that fucking game. So those are available now for anybody with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack subscription. Larry White wrote in and said, I'm just loving some of the retro titles we're getting from Acclaim on the expansion pass subscription. First Extreme G and now Turok. Fingers crossed for Attitude and Raw. Are you... of all the fucking, look, I want some wrestling games too. I don't think we're getting them because there's too much licensing. But instead of asking for, Revenge or No Mercy, you want Attitude and Warzone. My God. Come on. Larry, those games suck. I get it. But those games are fucking vicious. Oh, my God. I am stoked to see more. Man, Nintendo Online's been bringing it this month. Perfect Dark. Metroid Zero Mission, Link to the Past 4 Swords, the Mega Man Game Boy games. Nintendo's not, they're hanging around. They're hanging around. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. This was after a certain Zelda game, starring Zelda, which we'll get to. This was probably the game announcement we got the most write-ins about. I'm not going to play it, but even I was pretty stoked for all you fighting game fans because I see the comments. I see how many of you have written in asking me to review a Marvel vs. Capcom. In fact, I will say there is a slight chance that eventually I pick this up just because it's an affordable way for me to play Marvel vs. Capcom for the show. Because as someone that doesn't play fighting games, even I am interested in Marvel vs. Capcom because I love so many of those characters. So a new fighting game collection is coming out later this year. It features 7 classic games. It'll have online play and all that. The games included are X-Men: Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then a beat 'em up in the form of The Punisher. I am so happy for all of you that are so happy about these announcements. Mike Maloney wrote in and said it can't be understated how big that Marvel vs. Capcom collection is to fighting game fans. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has been basically unplayable for people since 2009 due to lack of physical media and most ROM hacks not being able to keep the game running smooth. This collection feels like every other fighting game needs to step aside for a moment and let Big Brother walk through. One of the biggest announcements in fighting game community history. When I see creators crying over this, I know we've made it. I teared up a bit myself. Yeah, I hear all of you. I have looked into trying to get my hands on Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the show. It is not an easy thing to do. So I get that this is a big fucking announcement. Blank Famous 06 said Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. It's actually real. Portable with online lobbies. No need to buy a 1-up arcade to play these anymore. We fighting game fans are eating good. Phil Lencher said the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. On the May 30th expansion pass, I wrote in about specifically a compilation of the Capcom Marvel fighting games from X-Men Children of the Atom through Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And here it is. I feel like we collectively willed this into existence. Fuck yeah, I'm stoked. I feel like a parent watching a child open a Christmas gift on Christmas morning that they're all excited about, even though I don't quite understand what this gift is. That's how I feel right now. I'm just sipping my coffee and I'm happy for all of you. So fucking A. Well, no release date yet, but sometime later this year. So there you go. Oh, and it was pointed out it's not coming to Xbox. It's coming to Switch, PlayStation, and PC. But it's not, as of right now at least, this collection's not going to Xbox. And the reason appears to be an old game engine. Jaw Muncher on Twitter pointed out, and I'm going to read this semi-verbatim because I don't quite understand this. But Jaw Muncher pointed out that the MT Framework game engine hasn't supported the Xbox One over the last few years, which could explain why some Capcom games are skipping Xbox and others aren't. The ones that have this engine don't support Xbox and haven't been releasing on Xbox consoles. The website Windows Central said, quote, "We saw a suggestion from Jaw Muncher on Twitter that Capcom's MT Framework engine is to blame for the recent spat of Xbox omissions. Our sources indicate that this is correct. Right now, Capcom has no pipeline for porting old MT Framework titles to Xbox's modern era system, which makes it more expensive to deliver the same titles than it would porting them to PS4, Switch, or PC. Perhaps Microsoft could step in and land a hand here. We can only hope," end quote. So as of right now, it doesn't look like this collection's coming to Xbox. We will see if that gets remedied or not. There you go. And the hits kept coming. Super Mario Party Jamboree was announced. It's releasing on October 17th. It's a new Mario Party. It's on like an island resort. There's a mall course. There's a racetrack course. Goomba Lagoon Beach Resort. They said 5 new boards to play on, plus 2 classic Mario Party courses are being revived. There's also this cool-looking 20-player online Koopa-thalon, they're calling it, which looks like an online battle royale. I'm 90% certain I'm going to pick this one up as well. It looks like vintage Mario Party. It looks sick. Matt D said, "My God, Mario Party. I was not expecting that. My wife and I are absolutely thrilled to see this. I was hoping for DLC for the last one, but this looks insanely good. Plus online? Get out of here." $5? Get out of here. Agreed. Yeah, I think this one looks like vintage Mario Party. It looks awesome. Jordan P said, "Super Mario Party Jamboree looks amazing, but I gotta say, if it's only playable with the detached Joy-Cons and not playable in handheld mode or with the Pro Controller, then that is going to be a major deal breaker. I rarely play my Switch with the Joy-Cons detached, and that's the whole reason I don't ever play Super Mario Party. I hope this is playable in handheld mode like Mario Party Superstars, which is the superior Mario Party game for the Switch." I think I agree with that. Which one's the one that I have? Super Mario Party was the first one, right? I think Super Mario Party was the first one. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, it was the. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't mind having to play. I never take my Joy-Cons off ever, but I'm not opposed to playing it with a Joy-Con because I understand for some of those mini games that's just how it works. But it would be nice if there was a way to just play it handheld, like online with your friends as well. So hopefully that is the case. I will say I'm probably scooping this one either way. So as it is right now, Super Mario Party Jamboree, October 17th. I'm going back through this to see what else I'm buying from this direct. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on June 27th. Dragon Quest 3 on November 14th is a maybe. So that's 2.5. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD on January 16th. That's 3.5. Boy, there's a lot of games in this fucking thing, man. Nintendo World Championships on July 18th, 100%. That's 4.5. Mario and Luigi Brothership on November 7th is also a maybe, depending on reviews. So I have 4 for sure's and 2 maybes already. And now next up, we got the one that has everybody talking, Zelda. A Zelda game featuring Zelda. I won't lie to you. It's in that Link's Awakening remake art style, and when I was watching the trailer, I thought it was a Link to the Past remake. Link's fighting Pig Ganon. He's hitting magic back at him. Zelda's in a crystal, and I'm thinking this is just remake of Link to the Past. But then what happens is Link is getting pulled into this weird portal, and he shoots Zelda's crystal with his bow and arrow as he's getting sucked in. Zelda gets away. It looks like the Link to the Past world in the Link's Awakening art style, but Zelda is the hero. You get to play as Zelda. She gets this item called the Tri-Rod, and she can use it to create copies of all kinds of stuff. Like in the trailer, it shows her creating copies of tables to make stairs and then climbing up them. She's making blocks of water copies and then using them to swim up a mountain to get up there. She's making beds and building a ladder out of them. You can create copies of enemies and use them to fight each other. It looks like there's tons of puzzles and everyone will play it a little bit differently. This looks awesome. No idea. This is the type of shit that makes me think the Yakuza owns Nintendo. Because how the fuck did this not leak? That's insane. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And it releases on September 26th of this year. Unreal. It looks so good. This is a day one purchase for me. And with the possible exception of Nintendo World Championships, this is the Switch game I'm most excited about now. This looks fucking awesome. A whole bunch of you wrote in about it. Jimothy said, that new Legend of Zelda, holy shit. I love the art style, the Link's Awakening remake, and this looks super fun. Day one purchase. Agreed. Subpar Nova said, I'm very excited for the new Zelda game. The art style taken from the Link's Awakening remake and Zelda as the main protagonist is such a welcome treat. I'll be saving up my gaming pennies to get this on launch day this fall. Super Dave said, an honest-to-goodness brand new 2D Legend of Zelda game starring Zelda puzzle platforming her way across Hyrule with boxes, bunk beds, and kitchen sinks. I can't wait to see how the dungeon puzzles will play out. And Big Chungus said, it's about time that lazy piece of shit Zelda got off her ass and did something. That made me laugh. I agree with all of you. I'm stoked to play Zelda. It's fucking sick. This game looks so good. There's about half of me that would have preferred a Link to the Past remake in the Link's Awakening remake style, but it doesn't matter. I still think this looks awesome. It's probably going to be awesome. I'm excited to play it. Nintendo, man, the fucking Switch just keeps going. I think this Direct, we're going to talk about it in a few more minutes when we wrap up this review. I think this Direct is helping Nintendo justify, like, I think we were all expecting a pretty lackluster next 7 or 8 months. They have a lot of games coming out, man. A couple of quick hits. Just Dance 2025 popped up. I don't know. If you care, you care. Lego Horizon, we already knew about holiday 2024. It was cool seeing a PlayStation game on a Switch showcase. That was kind of neat. Stray, that indie game where you play as the cat in the weird robot world, that's getting ported to the Switch. That's coming this holiday season. There's an Animal Crossing looking Lord of the Rings game called Tales of the Shire coming out this holiday season. Ace Attorney Investigation Collection drops on September 6th. I guess it's a couple of spin-off games from Ace Attorney, and one of them never released in North America. So this is the first time it's getting dropped over here, which I know to some of you, like Oroku Saki's Gardener, this is a big deal because that person wrote in and said, Mario and Luigi Brothership gives me It Takes Two vibes, and I love that game. Also, the Ace Attorney love we've been getting is amazing. We finally get a localization of Ace Attorney Investigations 2. So that must be the one that had never been released over here. So that's a nice get. September 6th for you Ace Attorney fans. Couple more RPGs. The 100-line Last Defense Academy is coming out early next year. It's from the creators of Danganronpa, how you ever say that. I guess you play as kids, they get sucked to some weird universe, and you have to survive at a school and fight enemies for 100 days. And Romancing Saga 2 Remake is coming on October 24th. It's a turn-based RPG, and you have to fight 7 bosses, and you can choose whatever order you want to fight them in. Neat. And then it wrapped up with their one more thing, and it was Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. That's what they're calling it now. They just gave us a quick look at it. It looks like Metroid Prime. It looks awesome. They said release is planned for 2025. That's all they said. So they didn't confirm it's coming out next year, and they didn't confirm what system it was releasing on. Keep that in mind. They just said that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond release is planned for 2025. But it was a nice ending. It looks awesome. That's a day one play for me as well. I thought this was a fantastic showcase. Dean Donian said, Metroid Prime 4. Now just give us a way to play 2 and 3 without shelling out for resale copies. I agree with that. Apparently 3 is the tough one because it uses motion controls or something. And Tim Tiani said, just saying that Metroid looked way too nice to be running on a current gen Switch. I'm calling it Metroid Prime 4 as a Switch 2 launch title. I'm not convinced it'll be a launch title, and I'm not 100% convinced it'll run on the next system, but that they just said release is planned for 2025 does seemingly indicate that this could release on the next system instead. Overall, I thought it was a great Direct. Nintendo World Championships, I can't fucking wait for. That Zelda game, Echoes of Wisdom, I can't wait for. Mario Party looks neat. The Marvel vs. Capcom collection, I know a whole bunch of you are excited about. I'm stoked for some of the new additions to Nintendo Switch Online, particularly Metroid Zero Mission. Luigi's Mansion 2 is only a week away. It's going to be awesome. That Dragon Quest 3 remake looks sick. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD looks fucking awesome. Can't forget Hello Kitty Island Adventure and new Mario and Luigi Brotherhood. It was a great fucking showcase. I thought Nintendo knocked it out of the fucking park. The overall reception online has been very, very positive. I'm going to go through a few of your comments to close this thing out, and then we're going to... we still had an hour. I thought the show would be like 20 minutes, and we're at almost an hour already. Holy shit. Blame the Hoagie Man said the new Mario and Luigi, new Zelda, getting 4 more games for Switch Online, a port of Donkey Kong Country Returns, and finally, and most importantly, seeing Metroid Prime 4 officially. Great show. Agreed. Lotus said, I don't know, but the new Zelda and Mario games coming this fall should help Nintendo across the all-time sales record when it comes to the Switch. I do, because they also announced that a new Switch Lite themed for the Zelda game is coming out. I still think a price drop is inevitable when they announce their next showcase. I think this is going to help their cause when it comes to chasing that record as well. I agree. It was a really good showing. Pressing X said, I'll pop my rumor mongering in here. Did anyone else notice that some games announced said coming to Nintendo Switch on, insert date here, where other games said coming to Nintendo Switch system on, insert date here? After listening out for this, the distinction between games released in 2024 and 2025 was clear that anything 2025 said Switch system and anything 2024 said Nintendo Switch. This makes me believe that some of these games will be released on both the new system and the current Switch. One of these games was Donkey Kong Remastered, which releases on January 16th. So by that date, I predict the new Switch is in our hands. I agree with everything you just said, aside from the new Switch being out by January 16th. I think it'll just be released on both. Because I think the only way we have the new Switch in our hands by January 16th is if they release it before Christmas. And I don't think they're doing that. I think they're going to get through this holiday season with the current Switch probably price dropped. And I still think we're getting that new system in March-ish of next year. We will see. But I do agree that some of these games are definitely going to both systems. That, no fucking question about it. And Sham 007. It's a great showcase by Nintendo. While still not as good as Xbox's, it put the others to shame. New Mario and Luigi game looked great, and coming off the success of Thousand Year Door, why not keep the Mario RPG train going? A cool-looking new Zelda, Mario Party, and Lego Horizons should help round out the year for me. Unfortunately, it does look like we are not getting any Pokemon remake this year, and no price cut announced, which would have helped seal the all-time sales deal for Nintendo. That price cut is coming. I just think they're like, we don't need to. I think they're going to delay it as long as possible, which I don't blame them. They're going to hold off as long as they can before they give up those sales. But I think when they announce that new Switch, they're not going to have a choice. It is coming. So overall, though, I agree. I thought that was a great fucking showcase. Really well done. Lots to play on the Switch for the next 6 months, which makes me one happy pappy. As far as game releases, I don't see anything on the Switch that I'm going to talk about. And as far as sales on the eShop, I'm going to point out Metroid Dread is 30% off. And it's my favorite Metroid game of all time. The best 2D Metroid ever made. It is fucking awesome. So if you've been waiting to pick it up, now is the time, friends. Enjoy it. It's fantastic. That is going to do it for what actually turned out to be a pretty reasonable game patch, thanks in major part to Nintendo. Again, I recorded this Thursday or Wednesday afternoon, so if anything big broke on Thursday, I'm sorry. We'll sneak it in next week when we get to Game Patch 193.0. I'm out of here for the weekend. I'm off to BC to see my nephew graduate high school, so I'll tell him you all said congratulations. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so much for the support, and we'll be back next week with a whole nother juicy slab of ribs in the form of my stinky podcast. Take it easy, everybody. Talk to you later. Vertical noise. Do the thing.
I've got several episodes of experience that makes me an expert.
Thanks again for listening. Head over to patreon.com/rememberthegame to see what all is waiting for you in our bonus podcast archives. You can view them on Spotify as well. Our subscriptions start at $3 a month. We offer annual subscriptions that'll save you a month's fees, and 5% of our Patreon income is donated to Extra Life for the Stollery Children's Hospital here in Edmonton. Hundreds of ad-free extra podcasts, access to our Discord. You can write into the show. You can vote for the games we play and cover, and so much more. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. Thanks. Cheers. So long. Goodbye. Whatever.